bist denn du?
Welcome, sir. Please, take a browse of my wares.
I am Dr. Reid. I would like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Doctor? Interesting. I'm Barrett Lewis. Usually I don't have time to waste with talk, but at this hour of the night I can hardly refuse.
How is business around here?
Business? I have no business. Between this racket, theft, and customers getting scared, I'm losing money every day.
I see. Sounds like you blame someone in particular for your situation.
It's no secret Joe Peterson spends his time harassing merchants. But with me, he's trying to put me out of business once and for all.
Okay, Joe Peterson.
As a merchant, you see Whitechapel every day. Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary recently?
Well, you mean besides the epidemic, the war, and all the usual crap? As long as I can remember, this part of town has been a bottomless pit, and no sign of the bottom yet.
Violence is increasing in the borough.
Yeah. A few nights ago, some blokes jumped me. Came out of one of the condemned workshops. Fever, madness, something like that.
Where did this happen? Why did you go there?
In the closed workshops nearby. I worked there as an apprentice in better days. Now I only go to find trinkets or tools. Too bad I was mugged, though. There was good money in that little box of loot I lost.
Have you been hurt?
No, but that's only because I ran like hell. Those men were raving lunatics, I tell you. Not even able to speak anymore, just screaming.
Okay, alles klar. Okay, hier brauchen wir Hinweise.
Have you heard of a nurse called Dorothy Crane?
Nurse Crane? So the bitch really is a nurse, then? Always thought she was just some crafty foreigner, that one.
Yes, she's a nurse, and quite a good one. What did she do to gain such notoriety?
Dorothy Crane ain't even a real name. Something like Dorothea Craniu. Something like that. Came to England fleeing the war, I was told.
That doesn't explain why she irritates you so much.
Your precious Nurse Crane gives away medical supplies and prescriptions for free. I offered to sell it for a fair cut, but no. Miss Crane wanted to play the quiet saint.
Okay.
Right then. Show me what
Was
you
hast du
have.
denn so? Das Zeug ist ganz schön teuer, sehe ich gerade. Naja, gut. Nur das Übliche.
I should never have taken up my fight.
Excuse me, sir. I have a few questions for you.
Another journalist? I didn't answer the first one, so piss off!
I'm not a journalist, I'm a doctor.
A doctor, you say? It's quite a rare breed in this part of town.
Really? But still, here I am. Dr. Jonathan Reid, at your service.
I'm Joe Peterson to some, but Colossus Joe to most. And I don't remember asking for your service, sir.
Er ist gesund und bringt eine Menge EP.
Have you heard of a nurse named Dorothy Crane? She's a colleague of mine, and is supposed to live around here.
Dorothy Crane? Yeah, I know her. One of the few good souls who dare to help the sick around here.
Could you please tell me more about her?
She's a nice girl. Tries to help the migrants. I offered to give her a hand, but she said my reputation would attract too much attention.
May I ask what you do around here?
I do whatever I want, and sometimes even more. Now sod off.
How did you become the local bully everyone is afraid of, Joe?
There's no pride in roughing up poor bastards. But this is the only job I've found. And it pays well, too.
A job? So you're racketeering for someone else?
I got enlisted by the Wet Boot Boys, a gang from the docks. I'm their muscle for their dirty work.
You survive at any cost, even at the expense of others. Perhaps that's just the law of nature.
I don't care what you think, sir. I do what I have to do for my own reasons, and that's that.
I'm not sure Mr. Lewis would agree with your by all means necessary philosophy, sir.
Oh, do you really think he's the poor victim here? Barrett can be as sneaky as anyone. Long ago, I even called the bastard my best friend.
According to you, physicians are scarce in this part of town. Why is that?
Not familiar with this neighborhood, are you? I guess your fancy colleagues are too afraid of being stabbed in the back.
This part of town does have quite a reputation. Would you say it's justified?
Totally. Look at me, for instance. I always look my opponent in the eye before knocking him out.
Goodbye.
Ah ja,
Mr.
gut.
Peterson.
So, wir haben ein neues Dings über ihn hier rausgekriegt. Gucken wir
Fancy
doch mal.
buying something, sir?
You never lose your focus, do you? Joe Peterson. He's the villain here, isn't he? But you seem to know each other.
I'd known Joe for years. I saw him box once or twice. He was a friend then. But these days, he's just another thug.
What can you tell me about Mr. Peterson? Besides his behavior toward you, obviously.
Colossus Joe was a decent boxer, good one even. But after his wife passed away, he found every excuse to stop training. Just wanted to pick fights with everyone.
Wir machen mal
Without
das hier.
making excuses for him, it's safe to say that despair can poison even the sanest mind.
We've all had some rough times, ain't we? But most of us don't use our fists to see us through.
And no one has ever stood up to this thug.
Nobody would be fool enough to stand against a wet boot boy.
Okay.
Goodbye for
Gut.
now, Mr. Lewis.
Wieder was gelernt? So, wer bist du denn?
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm
Ah,
new
da
to
haben wir
our
doch
job.
schon.
But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reid.
Dr. Reid, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Wollen wir mal hier ihm einen Plot-Twist verpassen?
I'm convinced there is more at work here than a simple epidemic.
Really? To be honest, I could say the same. Some of the sick I saw or heard of. My God, what happened to them?
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
Ja, was ist nur logisch? Wie soll ein Soldat kämpfen im Krieg, wenn er weiß, dass seine Familie zu Hause vielleicht an der Seuche stirbt?
I served in France. Our top priority must be to put an end to this butchery. This war must stop now.
Sir, streets are a battlefield too. An invisible and untold war is going on, and it must be stopped.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
That's
Okay.
quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
Okay, das war's schon mal hier. Dann können wir mal gucken, ob wir hier vielleicht was wissen. Nö. Dann?
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
I'm a doctor, Mr. Darby. I care about everything involving public health and this epidemic.
Are you sure you're not just concerned about the repercussions that a scandal involving a certain Nurse Crane from the Pembroke Hospital would bring?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out.
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Hä? Okay. Ja
Goodbye,
gut, das
Mr.
war's dann
Darby.
erstmal.
Farewell.
Dann suchen wir mal den anderen. Richard Nethercott. Oh, mit dem Priester können wir auch mal kurz.
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr.
Alter,
Jonathan
was
Reid,
nimmst du denn für
and I
Drogen?
just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Well, I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No,
What is left then?
cleansing fire.
Alter, wie ist denn der drauf?
Tell me, Tobias, what exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Purification by fire has proved useful, but where do you stop? Burn the clothes? The buildings? The corpses? Worse?
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. the Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool.
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Okay, der hat nicht mal alle Tassen im Schrank, glaube ich.
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Mann, hat der einen an der Klatsche.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
So you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Oh Mann,
I have
gib
had
mal
enough
was von
for
den
tonight.
Drogen ab, das ist ja nicht wahr, ey. So, was haben wir hier noch? Wer ist denn das? Das ist wieder der Crane. Was ist dahinter? So, jetzt müssen wir hinter die Kirche. Irgendwo. So können wir da hoch. Finde den Briefkasten. Hier ist wieder wer. Guten Tag.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reid. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Ach, das ist die Floristin.
I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly. I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it?
Scheiße. Okay, über die Camellia müssen wir wohl noch ein bisschen mehr rausbringen.
Goodbye then.
Was können wir mit den Blümchen da machen? Blumenstrauß. Ein kleiner Blumenstrauß, ein Gutschein für eine kostenlose medizinische Untersuchung ist inzwischen zwischen den Blumen versteckt. Ach, guck mal an. Ja, was haben wir denn da? Junge Frau, bleib mal stehen.
Hello again, miss. Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well.
Gut, dann muss ich noch ein bisschen mehr rausfinden über die junge Dame hier. Das ist wieder We Want You. So, 40 Meter diese Richtung. Das ist Tore zu. So, kurzer Blick auf die Karte. Ich finde den Briefkasten und den Brief. Okay, das eine ist also der Briefkasten. 26 Meter. 43 Meter. Da haben wir doch schon mal den Brief. Darius Petrescos Brief. Meine lieben Kinder, es tut mir so leid, dass ihr einige Monate lang nichts von mir gehört habt. Die Lage in London war schwierig. Ich weiß, es klingt vielleicht egoistisch und töricht, wenn ihr, meine Kinder, noch in einem Land lebt, das vom Krieg heimgesucht wird. Aber auch hier in England tobt ein Krieg gegen Armut und Ungerechtigkeit. Diesen Krieg will ich trotz meines fortgeschrittenen Alters führen. Deshalb schreibe ich euch heute. Ich werde nicht nach Rumänien zurückkehren. Das bedeutet, ich sehe euch wahrscheinlich nicht wieder, bevor ich sterbe. Seid nicht traurig, meine Lieben. Ihr seid mittlerweile erwachsen und habt selbst Kinder. Ihr wisst, welche Opfer wir manchmal bringen müssen, um diese Welt zu einem besseren Ort zu machen. Und dieses muss ich nun bringen, damit ich mich noch ein letztes Mal nützlich fühlen kann. Ich wünsche euch ein langes und glückliches Leben. Gebt meinen Enkeln einen Kuss von mir und vergesst nicht, dass euer Vater euch auch weit ab der kalten Heimat liebt. Euer euch ewig liebender Vater, Darius Petrescu. Nun schreibt er seinen
The
Nachnamen
content
dazu.
of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter.
Okay, das hätten wir. Dann müssen wir jetzt nur noch Mr. Knister finden. Die bringt ganz schön viel EP, wenn ich die jetzt hier knalle. Guck mal, da ist noch eine Blume. Ja, was macht die denn da? Versteckt überall diese scheiß Zettel in den Blumen. So, und wie komme ich jetzt hinter die Kirche? Komme ich hier rein? Nö.